I know everybody is now busy with the coronavirus. It's now difficult to make people think anything else, but can't be helped. We need to kind of carry on with our work. That's why I know your subject now, which whatever their subject is. Donna has a subject, I think, with CAA, and then Devkonna, her subject is fake news. Jyoti, the question of equality in the armed forces, the gender equality. And then Priyanka, her aviation projects. All these subjects have now become secondary in the question of coronavirus and its effects on us. But then we will have to push ourselves through. Don't get upset or nervous or anything. You have to do your work. So I would suggest that you start working on the sending your questionnaires after, of course, showing them to me, finalizing it, and then you send the questionnaires, and then you will have to coax your friends to answer. But before that, please look into the relevance of the questions you have asked. Unless the questions are relevant, you won't get the right answers. So the page I have sent you, just a photo of the page which I have sent you, that gives you a pointer to how the questionnaires should be prepared. First of all, whether the question is necessary, meaning whether it is relevant. Does the questionnaire include redundant questions? The same question of redundancy and relevance. Which question are superfluous? That's also, all these three are pointing to the same point, because that is very important. I mean, if you are asking, question or something on CAA, and then introduce a question on, say, fake news or corona, that won't help, or people will not take you seriously. So stick to your questionnaires, stick to your subject. Are all the questionnaires formulated easily and clearly? That's also important. I have been talking to you that when you write, you need to be logical and short in your sentences. Don't make very long sentences or long questions, so that the people whom you ask, they get confused. Be to the point and ask through very short the questionnaire format. Are there negative questions with answers that could be ambiguous? Those negative questions, of course, should be avoided. Then are the questions formulated too general? That's also the point. I mean, if you are talking about your subject, say aviation, don't talk about the too much on the transportation in general. So these are things which you have to think. I mean, what you are asking, what point in aviation you are, Priyanka, what point of aviation you are supposed to get from them, or reactions from them. So that's very important. Don't let it be too general. Be specific. Be pointed. With the interview, will the interviewee be potentially able to answer the question? That's also a question. I mean, suppose you ask somebody who is a 10-year-old or a kid. I mean, no point asking such people. So we need to have categories of different kinds of people that we have also already discussed. I mean, there can be students, there can be housewives, there can be professionals, there can be different kinds of people. And that is very desirable, that you have different kinds of people. But try to understand whether they will be able to answer this. The people you choose to send these questionnaires should be relevant. I mean, they should be intelligent enough to understand your question, and they should be interested in it. I mean, that's important. I mean, I know the distraction of corona will be quite logical, but then in spite of that, people generally are interested in all the four different topics that you have chosen. So stick to the point, and then the point is, might the result be influenced by the position of the question. And that's also, I mean, don't make a biased question. If you need to ask a direct question on and try to find out the biases, maybe that could be a question. But you don't be biased in your question formation. Then the thing is, are questions formulated in a suggestive way? That's also a question. Don't be too suggestive. Try to be, clear. Direct, and the questions must be related to your trying to find out the right answers from the right people. That should be your aim. Are the opening questions adequately formulated, and has the questionnaire properly reflected in? That's also important. I mean, you start, start a question saying that, keeping a good relationship with your wife? I mean, that sort of a question doesn't make, isn't not necessary to your subject, and you may put the person off. By asking a question which is not really, relevant, or it becomes too personal. So, framing the question, why you are making these questions. These questions are basically deriving your material on which you will research, on which you will analyze. So we have lots of steps remaining. We have to analyze first after the answers are you have received, and then after the analysis is done, we have to start writing. We have very little time, and this particular distraction of Corona has taken away a lot of our time. So start sending the question. For the sending of questionnaires, you don't need to go out. You can start, sending them from your computer itself. Start doing it now itself. Okay? So, good luck.